Mark Collinsworth of Vere Global with us again today. Today's topic is something that I think our viewers are going to find quite interesting. I know I'm quite interested in it. Are there growing parallels between what's going on today on Wall Street because of coronavirus, because of a global slowdown, other factors? Are there emerging parallels between what's going on today and the onset of the Great Depression after the crash of '29? Mark?
Yes, unfortunately, there are some very scary parallels between the two. A lot of people don't realize this, but one of the things that actually caused the Great Depression was actually a tariff war between Europe and the United States, which it kind of resembles the tariff war between China and the United States currently going on. But more importantly, one of the big things is during the Great Depression, America was actually an agricultural-based economy. So farming was the main thrust of the economy.
Right.
When the Dust Bowl or the big drought happened, farmers couldn't go and do any farming to make any money. So all the banks started going under because no one could pay their mortgages. The Dust Bowl is very similar to what's happening with the coronavirus. And today, our economy is service-based, which is the restaurants and leisure and travel, versus agriculture 100 years ago.
So what you're saying is 100 years ago, the base of the economy was agriculture. That's not the case today, but it works out the same way because of the proportionality of what drives the economy today, how that's being affected by the coronavirus.
Correct. The bulk of the economy 100 years ago was farming. Then farming got hit with a major drought, and that caused banks to go under. Today, the bulk of our economy is based on the service sector, which is restaurants, travel, and leisure, and that's being hit the hardest from the coronavirus.
Well, how seriously should we take this threat? How seriously should we think that the parallels are there and it will lead to another Great Depression?
The parallels are very, very similar right now. The two big differences between the two is, one, they put safeguards in place to prevent things from getting that bad. That's where the unemployment insurance comes in and so forth. But one of the major things is during the Great Depression, the Federal Reserve was actually raising interest rates instead of cutting interest rates, which made things that much worse as money was being taken out of the economy. This time, the Fed actually got on board a lot faster and started cutting interest rates early.
So you believe that these safeguards that have been put in place since the crash in '29 and in intervening years, that's enough to prevent another Great Depression?
That's kind of one thing that's a big debatable situation. Where the weak point actually falls in is the U.S. economy has taken on so much debt over the last 100 years. I mean, the U.S. economy is a $22 trillion economy, and the U.S. government has $22 trillion in debt. How much will that debt really weigh on it? I mean, how much can the government really spend? I mean, just this past week alone, the Federal Reserve took on almost $1 trillion of new money onto their balance sheet. $1 trillion in just several days.
So we're pushing the edges here of what's going to keep the economy going. In other words, we're going to the edges of what's sustainable economically.
That's correct, and that's another thing that, one of the things about the Depression, one of the good things that came out of the Depression is that companies that should not have survived in the first place actually died off, so they weren't kept on life support. That made the economy more competitive long term. The problem that we've made here in the last roughly 20 years is the government now starts to intervene to prevent companies from going under, the too big to fail thing. And that has caused companies that shouldn't be around to be on life support, which is basically sucking capital from companies that are strong, legitimate, growing companies. Capital is being taken away from those and being devoted to the companies that are technically on life support.
So that adds to the problem then. So with all this dire factors here, how likely is it that this will turn into a Great Depression?
I don't think this round is going to turn into a Great Depression because the Federal Reserve and the U.S. government is basically throwing everything they have to stop this from turning into a Great Depression. And I think they'll be fairly successful because they've got quite a bit of ammunition to throw at this problem. My concern is when the next recession comes, there's really nothing left to fix at that point. Is the next recession or the next coronavirus will be a game over scenario.
Well, how do you prevent that from happening? I mean, will there be lessons learned from this if we get through this crisis that would prevent another crisis that would finish us off?
Well, no, the unfortunate thing about this scenario is a lot of companies that should probably go bankrupt during the coronavirus are not going to go bankrupt because of all the loans, the SBA loans, the payroll checks and everything to keep companies alive. Those companies are really just being put on life support and shouldn't be in business to begin with. And as those companies stay on life support, they'll just be a slow drag against the companies that should be getting that capital to begin with. So when the next coronavirus happens or whatever the next recession, the government really won't have any way to save those companies. A lot of companies will go bankrupt in the next recession.
So what you're saying then is that you think that we will get through this crisis because of the government's intervention. However, coming out of this crisis, which you believe we will do, coming out of it, there's no protection against another type of crisis like this, either virus or otherwise, finishing us off.
That's correct. The next big recession or financial crisis that occurs, the government and the Federal Reserve has shot all this ammunition or is shooting all this ammunition into the coronavirus. After this round, the next recession, they really won't have any ammunition left to really do anything to it.
And there's nothing that can be done about preventing that.
The only way that you can really prevent that is you're going to have to make the hard choice, and you're going to have to let some companies just go bankrupt. You just can't save everybody on the planet. And they're going to learn that lesson in the next big recession.
So it's not likely that they're not going to throw out lifelines of these companies. So therefore, the stage is set now for us to be finished off if another crisis of this magnitude comes along.
That's correct. That's my big fear is we just won't be able to make it through the next one. This was basically the coronavirus. You could actually say this is actually the beginning of the end.
Mark Collinsworth of Vere Global with some very unsettling analysis of what's going on now and what's to come. Mark, I guess, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.